I need to be doing this?
Not until you have to.
But I have to now. Are we there?
Maybe.
Hello everybody, this is Danny and Wanda from Deep South Homestead. We're about to do a video that we've been embarking on for quite some time.
Close to 2 years.
Close to 2 years for this video. We have been talking some about this over on Patreon, but we've now moved over to YouTube, and we're going to do this video for YouTube that we've been wanting to do now for right at 2 years. And that is, why an off-grid cabin?
Well, we're kind of wondering that ourselves right now.
It is, I checked when I got out of the truck here at the cabin. It's 95 degrees. The heat index is probably about 118.
Yeah.
So.
And there's a touch of a breeze occasionally.
It's slight.
And with his church fan, we got a little breeze.
Yeah.
So we're okay.
Once again, thanks, Ms. Denise.
This comes in handy.
Yeah.
But why? Why did we decide to build? This is one of the questions. When we have such a nice house, why did we decide to build here on our property an off-grid cabin?
Well, first of all, we looked at buying property in other places away from here.
My family lives an hour and a half away, and Danny wanted to buy a piece of property there so that if something happened to him and I needed another place besides here, I needed an extra place, he was going to build a cabin there.
Yeah. Well, after thinking about property being so far away from the house, we come to the conclusion that if we was to buy property away from here, an hour and a half, an hour, 2 hours, whatever it ended up being, our time spent there would be very minute.
We had bunches of animals.
Yeah, we have our farm.
We couldn't just leave for more than leave one morning after feed, come back home that night.
In order to feed up again.
And if you drove 2 hours,
yeah,
and then you drove 2 hours back home, your time is very limited.
And on top of that, when we would have to pull a trailer all the time. We have to carry a generator. We would have to go by, pick up lumber, pick up material, and take it to the property. And then there was that chance, if it was remote, that someone would steal it, or they would, someone would vandalize the place and bust windows, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about this for quite a while, because we actually laid the foundation for this cabin 2 years ago, and then we didn't do anything for a year because we got to thinking. We started talking about, about buying something somewhere else.
Yeah.
Did we make a mistake by putting it on our property, or should we have went somewhere? So we just shut it down, and we would not do anything for over a year.
Yeah, and we were thinking, we just kept saving our money, sticking it up, and looking at property. Mm-hmm. We have looked at property for probably a year and a half.
A good year and a half, yeah.
And not really found anything that
nothing that just jumps
either
out.
One of us could be comfortable with.
No.
Each property always had something wrong with it, or something we didn't like, or nothing was too. We were waiting on God to give us a.
Yeah, we were just waiting on an open door, and that door just never came.
Never happened.
Not for a cabin. It never came.
Mm-hmm.
And then I looked at Wanda one day, and I told her, I says, look, we've already put the block work in over there. Maybe we should just go, because my health is not the best in the world. And I didn't know. I said, I don't know. I'd like to have one last hurrah, and build one last structure. I said, but I just don't know if I can. Mm-hmm. So we went and started looking at buildings.
Oh, we looked at lots of buildings. And
yeah.
We looked online. We went to places here in town. We looked everywhere. We talked about how much it would cost, the ins and outs of a building. When Danny would walk in, he's so tall that the top of the roof is right here.
Yeah. And then we even went to a place who done custom buildings on your property. You just draw out what you want. They would come here and they would build it for you. Mm-hmm. Things like that. And when we got to looking at what it was going to cost, and when I walk into one of these buildings, I look at them, and I've done construction work, I look at them and I'm going like, no, this is not going to cut it. Because in our heat, these little low-pitch sheds, you would burn up in them. Even if you insulated them, you would just burn up. Now, in the wintertime, it would be great, but in the summertime, you would burn up. And then they didn't really have a cabin look, because with us, it's as much about look and presentation as it is about just owning one. We wanted the traditional look. We wanted the steep roof with the porch coming off the front, with the porch around it on two sides,
Fireplace.
and a fireplace and stuff like that. And with the sheds,
I wanted the big windows.
she wants the huge windows, and with the sheds, we just couldn't have this. And we were going to end up spending the same amount of money for someone coming here and custom building something for us, or buying a shed was going to end up costing us the same amount of money as if we just built what we wanted. And I told her, I said, look, I may never finish it, I don't know, because of my health. But I would really like to try to give it a go.
And so 2 years ago, we put the foundation. We waited a year, and for Valentine's this year,
Valentine's of
we wanted
this year.
to start in the cool weather because it does get hot. Now is not the time to be trying to build a cabin.
Not the time to be building a cabin.
Many people do build this time of the year, but in his health, he could not handle this heat. So we started in February, laying the foundation on our off-grid cabin. And we do have a generator, and that's what he uses for anything he needs. But we were wanting something that we could leave our house first thing in the morning, come over here and work, go back and forth to the house as needed. So if we had been 2 hours away, we would have had to pack lunches, water, the whole 9 yards. Everything would have had to been done. Yeah. The properties we looked at either did not have a running stream, or if they did have a running stream on them, they didn't have any flat land. And so all these issues, we have our established place here. We know what we've got. Mm-hmm. And this gives us our staycation.
Well, so many times when you start building off-grid, I don't care what you do, you've either got to have a battery-powered stuff or you've got to have a generator.
And with the battery-powered, how many times do you have
to go
charge?
There's no telling how many times a day I got to charge stuff. And I'm like, I got to have a generator anywhere. I can't charge anything unless I had it hooked to my truck, to an inverter in the truck. And then I got to run my truck. So we've spent a ton of money just buying gasoline here where we're at to keep a generator running to build this cabin that we're sitting here on the porch on. Now,
and he did a lot by hand.
I don't.
Now, to keep from using a nail gun.
There has not been a nail gun used on this job anywhere. Every nail, every screw's been done by hand.
The generator was mainly for saws and cutting metal and things like that. Yeah. And so the generator did not run all day, every day.
No.
He would crank it and run it when he needed to, because we do have neighbors next to us, and we do not want to be interfering with them hearing generators all the time. So we do not run a generator all the time.
Right.
So
it's, to have a cabin like this, it is a particular design that I designed. I've done lots of research. I've looked online at lots of things.
I'll keep us going.
Okay, you keep us going there. About particular southern designs, because, people lived here before air conditioning. And I went back and looked at the old homes and how they were designed. And I realized, now there's some things I'm not going to do. A lot of them had no rat seals under the bottom. In other words, the air could come up under the bottom of the house and go straight up through the walls and go right up in through the attic. And that's how some of the houses stay cool. But I'm not having that because I don't want no critters crawling up through my walls.
We're kind of not liking the critter in the house.
Yeah, I don't want the critter in the house thing. So, and plus it's harder to heat them in the wintertime when they're like that. And a lot of the houses, didn't have insulation in the walls. But we went with the steeper roof because we can get the heat way up in the top up there. And we have windows in the end, so we can open those windows and let the heat out through the top. We've got the, we put baffles in the ceilings and all that kind of stuff so we can keep the airflow once it's insulated. Don't have to stop any of that. And then the location. It's all about location. The cabin is underneath a bunch of oak trees right here. Now the sun will hit this cabin directly in the middle of the day for about 2 hours, and then it's off of it and it's shaded again. And as these trees get bigger, that time will lessen littler and littler amount of time that the sun will be able to hit the cabin.
Right now, what time is it?
It is 12:40.
So it's almost 1 o'clock in the day, and the shadow is way over here.
Yeah.
So it's not even here. We're not.
It is right on the top of the cabin, but there's trees all around it here, and we have an open area to the southeast and south here, which is our prevailing winds this time of year come out of the south.
Mm-hmm.
So our porch is on the southern side of the house, so that as the wind comes out of the south, we can feel it coming underneath the porch here when it's blowing. Now we do have part of the porch that wraps around and goes around to the northwest corner over here. In the winter time, you know, I like to have a porch around the house as much as possible. I would have liked to have had it all the way around it, but we couldn't do it because of the amount of trees that we have here.
We didn't want to cut trees.
I'm not taking my trees out.
He only cleared enough area here just for the cabin.
Yeah.
So we've left trees our front. When we start showing the cabin in videos, you'll see there's 2 trees in our front. The porch had to stop at a certain spot because of the 2 trees.
Because of the trees.
The back had to stop at a certain spot because of all the trees. And
the end, the trees are within a few feet of the end of the cabin.
Yeah.
And, you know, this end had more room to play, but but we strategically placed the cabin on the property so that we could take advantage of the shades. Now, I know these are deciduous trees. During the wintertime, all the leaves will fall off and we'll get full sun.
Which will help warm the cabin.
Help warm the cabin.
It's all about porch time.
Well, it is, but, but I guess one of the things that we want to talk about too is why did we decide to go off grid?
I don't know. Why did we decide to go off grid?
Sitting here with a fan and at 100-something degree heat index makes you wonder.
People think we're crazy. And a year ago, I would have told you we're not going off grid. Just saying. But we're not. This is off grid.
There's no electricity in this house anymore.
There's no electricity.
No solar, no nothing.
But we do plan on having it wired, and we hope to purchase the generator and all this for solar. And we would not generator, what is the solar panel?
It's a solar generator.
Yeah. So we're hoping to have all that whole setup eventually. For here. So we're wiring it for that. But if all else fails, it can be hooked up to a power grid if necessary.
Yes.
Right now, we've been playing around with this off-grid thing, and up until, a month ago?
Oh, up until a month ago, it was fine.
We were okay.
Yeah.
Danny's cooked in the fireplace.
I've been cooking in the fireplace.
Heated with it.
Yeah.
It's not been hot at night. We can open the windows and enjoy it. The last couple of times we've been over here, we've had to bring our little mini generator and a fan. And that goes out after about 4 hours, but once it cools off at night, the cabin is cool and we are enjoying
it. Matter of fact, we're sitting out here now. You can go in the cabin. The cabin's probably 20 degrees cooler on the inside than it is out here.
And that's amazing.
It is amazing, but it's just a design. But why did we do this off grid? Guys, we're heading into some uncertain times ahead. We may experience some brownouts and stuff like that. The house that I live in now is a very nice home, but after Katrina, I learned very quickly that with no electricity, you can't live in that house because it's very airtight. No air can get in that house anyway. And when Katrina happened, the temperature inside the house was way over 100 degrees. And I ended up
that too. It was. You couldn't survive.
You couldn't stay inside because there's no airflow in the house.
Yeah.
And I ended up having to sleep in a tent on my porch in order to be able to survive.
Yeah.
So we took that design and I looked at it and I said, this is not going to get it if we have a grid down situation or anything. We need a building that we can function in.
Well, we looked at the whole design and we thought, can we convert it? Can we take money and change the style house in order to be able to have airflow and stuff? And the way it's built very nice. It's a Victorian home.
It's a Victorian style. Yeah.
Closed in, like you said, and there was no way to open it up enough, even with the high ceilings and things like that. If we leave the air conditioner off right now, you'd just about suffocate this time of day.
Within a few hours, it would start getting hot.
You couldn't handle it.
Yeah, it's just not feasible. But the cabin stays cool most of the day. It does get warm after about 2 o'clock in the day. It will
Later
get
in the
warm.
evening, it starts warming up.
Starts warming up.
And we're not cooking in there yet.
No.
Not at all. Any cooking that will be done for a while will be outside. Danny did cook in the fireplace when it was cold.
Yeah, when it was cool enough for me to build a fire, yeah, I did that. I cooked in the fireplace.
Right now, any cooking would be done outside. So we have the rocket stove, we have another stove, we have the grill. All that will be done outside. We're not ready to live here yet.
Oh no, we got a long way to go before we live here. I got to finish wiring it. I got to insulate it and stuff like that before we even think about living in it.
And you're building a bed.
I'm in the process right now of building us a log bed. I want to make sure the bedroom is wired and insulated before I ever put that bed in there, because I know when I do, it's never coming out. It's too heavy and it's too big.
So
I can just have to work around it working in the room.
So some of the reasons like that would be to be cooler. It is less of a building to heat or cool.
Yeah, it's
less
only
of the upkeep.
It's a 16 by 32 with a 10 by 11 addition onto the side of it for another room, and then it has a porch, an 8-foot porch around it. So then we have a loft in it. Up in over half of it's got a loft up there.
And we are going to have that where he's going to build some type of staircase, and that will be in the future.
Yeah.
Of some sort to get to it. But at the older we get, we don't see going into the loft.
I don't see myself going up into the loft very often. It'd be a good place if you ever want to, like, Wanda and I talk about writing a book every occasionally.
Yeah.
It'd be a good place to go and just sit.
And watch the fire from
and watch the fire from up there, and you can see outside from the window. And just be quiet and just be able to write. You know?
Yeah, just have your quiet time. That's one thing that we wanted, and I know people are going to say you have this big house. Why can't you do that? It is different. There's a different feel.
There is a different feel over here than they are in the house.
Yes.
Yes.
Danny and I both noticed it immediately when we were over here working, even on the foundation.
Yeah.
When we were putting down the piers, it just had this, almost like it was calling us.
Yeah.
And we both noticed it then. But since we've been working over here, it's like this is where we belong. This is our house.
Yeah.
The big house is our house, but it's never really been who Danny and I are.
Right.
We have made do because it is our house.
Yeah, we live in it. It's a place where we lay down and go to sleep at night. We do a lot of our editing and stuff like that.
Cooking and canning.
We have the studio over there. We go into the studio and we do all of our YouTube work there. But over here is just different. You don't have the electrical current running through everything. You don't have all the appliances everywhere. It's just a simple structure. It's very nice, very comfortable inside, and very plain. There's nothing.
Even though it's not finished,
right?
It's just different. And just to come over here, and Danny and I can be out working in our little gardens, and we've already landscaped a lot around the cabin. We're working on it anyway, and we've got our garden started. We've got going to be transitioning a lot of our gardening over here. Things like that. We're still doing the gardening in the front, but we're going to fix this the way we want it over here. And our original goal was to just kind of start to finish show people how to lay a landscape, how to lay a homestead out.
Yeah, how to lay out a homestead.
And so I guess that's part of our process. We didn't want to go anywhere and do it. We wanted to do it here.
Right.
And where we had time and we can think, and things change every day here.
Well, they do. And we've even got where we're in the consideration point right now, putting down a well. Are we going to do it by hand, or are we going to call somebody? These are things that we hadn't decided on yet. If we put a well down, is it going to be a solar pump or is it going to be a hand pump?
We just know we need water.
We just know that we've learned right quick. Water is one of our biggest issues over here. Yeah. So we've got to come up with a well at some point. you know, to be able to survive.
How many gallons of water do you think we've already brought over here in the
I don't
last
even know
6
how many
months?
100 gallons of water has been brought over here.
Not only, now really for us, we still have the house.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, we still have the house. So most of the cooking and stuff is over there, most everything. When we cooked over here, I would take dishes back and wash them at the house and then bring them back. So, you know, washing dishes over here hasn't really happened yet.
We don't have a kitchen.
Yeah, basically. But I mean, I have dish pans here.
We have dish pans.
But most of our water has been, we don't even take a bath here.
No.
So we go back to there. So
We can use a bathroom here, but we can't.
we don't have a way to take a bath and things like that. So all this is down the road. We're working on these possibilities. We have our ideas. We know what we want to do. That's in the future. We brought water over here mainly for plants.
Mainly, it is. A lot of it's for plants, yeah. But we do bring drinking water. We bring water to wash our hands with or stuff like that.
And clean up any paintbrushes and all that stuff has to be done. And if you don't have water, you're just messed up. So a lot of water's been toted over here. So water's going to be a biggie getting a well at some point.
Yeah, and then, like I said, powering the well. You know, we're going to do it by hand. We are designing water catchment systems now to catch the water off these roofs because it will be a lot of water coming off the roofs.
Yeah, the water catchment's going to be big.
The water catchment's going to be a big deal here for watering the gardens and stuff, and maybe even use it for like flushing the toilets or whatever. We haven't quite made our mind up on that yet. But we're working actively toward figuring out, while we have time, what changes do we need to make right now?
Yes.
In order to make this really work for us.
And Danny and I like some semblance of comfort. We don't like to be totally uncomfortable in some things. So he's building a bed that he likes because he wanted to be able to do that also. He wanted to build most of the furniture he has in his head, how he wants to build most things that are going in here. And it's a long, drawn-out process. You don't start something like this and finish it in 6 months unless you have a lot of help and a lot of stuff, because mainly you're doing most of it by yourself with my help.
Yeah.
And when he doesn't need me and I can go to the house, I go do my stuff. But on the whole building process, I helped him for the most part, or he did it by himself. Yeah. We had a couple of friends help a couple of times.
Friends came by and done some nailing, helped us hold a few boards.
But other than that,
it's just been me and Wanda through the whole thing. You know?
And we're going to get to that part. That's our next coming up video, is the build.
We're going to start showing you how we put the foundation in, little by little on that. And we'll take you through the whole build of the cabin from beginning to end. It's just going to be a long process, guys.
Because it's been several months of us doing this.
This is not something that's just going to happen overnight. You're not going to just jump out and see a video and go, oh, well, I know everything they've done now. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, and if you want to jump on it, go over to Patreon. We do have all the videos up so far on Patreon, but we're going to be reworking some of them, doing some talking along the way, talking about the process of what we liked or didn't like about what we did or how well it is working. We're going to add some commentary, I guess, to simply the work. And we're going to bring you up to date, but it might be weeks down the road.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a long process.
Where Patreon has seen it all the way.
Patreon's been on it and been watching it, We're really and actively trying to figure this lifestyle out. We look at different channels that live off-grid, and, and I can look at these off-grid houses and stuff like that they show in their homes, and I can tell that fast if they're really there or not, because I know how difficult it is here. And
we end up junking it up. I call it junking it up. He says our house is clean, but I tell him we're junked up.
But it looks pretty clean to me. I mean, everything's in place and where it belongs. But it's just a simple fact of building something with no electricity.
Yeah,
that's hard
for somebody that's used to having electricity. When
I catch myself a cake, I reach and grab the skill saw, and I'm like, I gotta crank the generator, or I gotta change the battery.
So that's what we've been learning from building it off grid.
Yeah.
You have to have some way to power your tools.
Right.
or either you got to go back to the old saw and
That ain't happening. That ain't
drill
happening in this kind of heat.
And here it's just not happening.
No.
We've got a long ways to go.
A long way to go.
Hope you guys will stay with us. We're going to work on bringing you some of the commentaries along the way.
Yeah.
Hopefully at least one a week. It might be one every 2 weeks, according to how well what's going on. Because canning season last month has been horrendous for us. We've been really doing a lot of canning. We've got some of our things coming in the near future. Hopefully not too overwhelming yet. Our biggest deal was a couple of weeks ago. We've been really ramping it up, and we're hoping to level out.
Which is something we've learned, is that there won't be any canning here.
It'll be very difficult to can here.
Because when you have no electricity, and we have gas, but it would have to be done outside because it would heat this thing up down here in our heat.
Yeah, we could not
so
can
bad.
inside.
You could not can inside.
And there's not enough room.
No.
Okay, if you've got a little bitty place, and I see why people are building off-grid kitchens and all this stuff, but my thought is, if I'm going to build a tiny cabin, and I'm going to build an off-grid kitchen, and I'm going to build an off-grid wash house, and I'm going to build, why not build one big house and just put it all in it?
Yeah, that's just it. You
I
don't,
mean,
you
that's,
don't go through that headache. Just go ahead and build your house.
you know, that's why we have the big house. It's going to be our cannon and everything. We have this for relaxation. Let's just be honest. This is our chill time.
This is a place for us to come and chill.
So this is our chill place. We come over here to chill, to get away from everything.
Yeah.
That's mainly what we do. Most people will go on vacation. They buy 4-wheelers. They buy boats. They go play golf. They have, go to the movies. They go shopping. All these things are people's getaways.
We don't do that.
We are not that type person. We don't care about all that. So this is our getaway. This is where our money goes, and this is our chill place.
Yeah. So follow along with us on the rest of the videos. We're going to begin to start showing you the build of the cabin, and hopefully you'll enjoy us as we take you on this journey of Deep South. Why